homemade wine, homemade wine. Nothing was as fine as Papa's homemade wine. Just a sip and you'll flip, ba-ba-ba-boom around the room. Capalavino, Papa's homemade wine. Uncle Biduch from Sicily, he was 93. They called the family doctor, he was sick as he could be. He had a last request, he said, to give me a Papa's wine. He took a sip, Pacerosa, and now he's feeling fine. A homemade wine, homemade wine, homemade wine, homemade wine. Nothing was as fine as Papa's homemade wine. Just a sip and you flip, ba-ba-ba-boom around the room. Capalavino, Papa's homemade wine. My friend Pasquale Caputo was shy, but still he found a wife. He had no kids to show for 20 years of married life. And then one day he took a sip of a Papa's homemade wine. He raced right home. Madonna Dugan, the twins are doing fine. A homemade wine, homemade wine. Nothing was as fine as Papa's homemade wine. Just a sip and you flip, ba-ba-ba-boom around the room. Capalavino, Papa's homemade wine. And now I'm making the wine myself from Papa's recipe. My kids and I, we jump on the grapes so happy as can be. When I feel bad, I take a sip and become an opera star. Homemade wine, a homemade wine, homemade wine, homemade wine. Nothing was as fine as Papa's homemade wine. Just a sip and you flip, ba-ba-ba-boom around the room. Capalavino, Papa's homemade wine. You make a lousy cup of coffee and a poor cup of tea. You look bad in the morning, faccia brutta, even worse a tree. Everyone keeps saying that I ought to split the scene. And then the sun goes down, and then the sun goes down. And all at once you look good to me when the sun goes down. I really love you when the sun goes down. You're nothing short of lazy, musha, then you're slow when you walk. I get a migraine headache when I listen to you talk. $1 million diamond will turn your finger green. And then the sun goes down, and then the sun goes down, Madonna. And all at once you look good to me when the sun goes down. I really love you when the sun goes down, when the sun goes down. You read Dick Tracy, but it gets too deep. I take you to a party and you go to sleep. Mushy, the more you try to do well, I blow my mind. And then the sun goes down, and then the sun goes down. And all at once you look good to me when the sun goes down. You make a lousy cup of coffee and a poor cup of tea, but I love ya when that sun goes down. Every summer in old Palermo, you can hear the nostalgic music of the man everybody calls Zampogna. Zampogna. Pay the piper, he keeps on saying, as he smilingly goes on playing for the people who stop to hear Zampogna. Zampogna. No one knows where the old man came from. They don't care where the old man came from. When he plays, everybody yells Zampogna. There's a twinkle in his eye every time he passes by, and they all gather round to hear his serenade. Ho, 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 the bagpipes playing, let's fall in love, that's what it's saying. Ho, 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 true hearts swaying. Let's sing along with the bagpipe man. No one knows where the old man came from. They don't care where the old man came from. When he plays, everybody yells, Zampogna. There's a twinkle in his eye every time he passes by, and they all gather round to hear his serenade. Tira campa, la vita è bella, vata a buscar una ciumachella, chiama balla, una tarantella, tira campa, con la Zampogna. Oh, 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 the bagpipe's playing, let's fall in love, that's what it's saying. Oh, 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 true hearts are swaying, let's sing along with the bagpipe man. Let's sing along with the bagpipe man. Let's sing along with the bagpipe man.
Now I'll tell you of a hero whose name's on every lip. The Pepperoni Kid, my friend, with a cue stick on his hip. The greatest pool shot in the land. He draw his cue so quick. You see, he shot the game of pool with a pepperoni stick. And then there was Conchetta, with the beauty of a pearl. But no one dared to look at her. She was Pepperoni's girl. Her raven eyes would sparkle. She would toss her head and sneer. She loved how Pepperoni made opponents shake with fear. But there was one who challenged him, Big Nunzio by name. He said, hey, Pepperoni Kid, I can beat you out of this game. And when I do that, the lovely girl Conchetta gonna be mine. Conchetta laughed, the kid said, play, we're only wasting time. Soon a crowd began to gather to watch this game of pool, where the Pepperoni Kid would play Big Nunzio the fool. But Nunzio was ready, for he had his lucky charm, a bracelet made of mallet beads he wore upon his arm. Shot after shot, the game went on. Conchetta looked with pride. The kid could win if he could make the 9 ball in the side. But then he paused to wash his hands while smiling at the crowd. And as he turned to take his shot, Conchetta screamed aloud, ah! Nunzio ate his cue stick!
You gotta be kidding!